Welcome to The Burning of the Midnight Temp, where we are dissecting music history, album by album, and track by track. And we are attacking another Sparks album.
By popular request.
By popular request, their seventh album from 1977, Introducing Sparks. Confusing title there, maybe?
Yeah, it's never too late to have an introduction.
No. And as our followers will notice, one guy is missing in the middle here, Ton.
Yeah.
We have struggled to find the time to do these episodes, and we figure out if we're going to get this going and not wait for too long, we need to do this with only me and Chris.
Yeah.
Three busy guys, and finding a...
Tron might be the busiest at the moment. He's... in Norwegian, you would say he had a lot of hot iron in the fire, and he's trying to juggling all these hot irons, and one should not juggle hot iron. That's a bad thing, so we let him do what he has to do, and we try to continue without him for this album. Hopefully he will be back for the next album we will tackle, or maybe we'll get a substitute teacher in. So
could be.
We will see.
Yeah.
And of course, the three of us, we're going to see Sparks this summer.
Yeah.
I have to mention that. Frode and me, we're going to Copenhagen to see them on the Mad Tour in July. And Tron is seeing them in the UK in July.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're in a Sparks state of mind.
And Chris here, of course, haven't heard many of these Sparks albums, although I doubt we will hear anything from Introducing Sparks on this concert. Yeah. We have to try and squeeze in as much as possible before we go and see them live.
Yeah, I heard the new album, which I really enjoyed, and I heard some songs here and there, and I heard the Giorgio Moroder album, and
the next album,
yeah, and of course the 6 previous albums. So looking forward to be introduced to Sparks.
Yeah. And we have discussed this album in our podcast. So if you want to hear the history around how this album was to be made, I'll advise you to go and listen to our podcast episode on that. But to keep it very short here, the band had now released Big Beat in 1976 with kind of a band they had put together after they moved back to the US. And Big Beat had sold really poorly. It was quite harsh reviews of the album and the following tour. And they were in economic troubles at this time. So the band members, they actually left because Sparks couldn't afford to pay them anymore. But Columbia Records, who were the record company at this time, still demanded an album. They came in and say, okay, we'll help you. We're going to show you how a real album is made. Maybe that's why they selected or suggested the title Introducing Sparks to the two brothers.
Now we're serious, sort of.
Yeah. Forget everything you've done before, and now we're going to introduce you to the American market. Maybe. Anyway, they then put together a group of session musicians. Impressive list of names, you can definitely say. We have David Foster, the future super producer, band members from Toto, drummer who played on Steely Dan's Aja, and really top-notch musicians. But as Ron points out, he considered them to be soulless, no personality, and swore after he recorded this album that they were never going to record another album using session musicians like this. So this is kind of their, not forgotten album, but it was in the closet for a long, long time. It wasn't even released on CD until 2007. And even the band had, I think they had such a negative experience recording it that they simply disowned it and forgot about it. And it was first in 2008 when they were playing all their albums on the Sparks Spectacular concert series, that when they actually had to rehearse these songs on Introducing Sparks, that they said themselves they rediscovered these songs and that they were actually quite good songs. So, yeah, me and Chris are going to listen to it now, and we'll see what we think about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited because you undersold it in the podcast introduction. So I'm not sure what to expect. There's a lot of slick musicians playing on this album, and the songs, as you said in the podcast, Bob Ezrin, when he heard the songs the first time, he said, "Now play the A sides." So I don't have the biggest expectations for the songs as well, and if there's B-side quality songs and slick production, soulless production, as the band said themselves, then what is left? But you could be surprised. You know, with lower expectations, it's easier to say, well, it's not as bad as that. So,
And what's then better than to start with the first track? A big surprise.
ooh, I wonder if it is a big surprise. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's jump into the first track and have a listen to it. A Big Surprise by Ron and Russell Nile.
No use in our pretending we don't know what we know. We know a lot of things. I know each muscle on your back and every toe. But you've held out on me, I can tell from your eyes, disguising the ace that you hold. I want a big surprise tonight, a really big surprise tonight. It's boy meets girl, and here we go once again. Where is that Yankee ingenuity? Somebody told me how the motion picture would end. I turned and glared at them, and then I read the way the world was going to end. With a whimpering sound, not a banging away. I'm sorry I gave it away. I want a big surprise tonight, a really big surprise tonight. It's boy meets girl, and here we go once again.
Yes. Were you surprised?
It was not as big a surprise as I was expecting because you had prepared me for this. Yeah, well, it's not. It wasn't as bad as I was fearing, but somehow it sounded like a parody or a pastiche. My thoughts went to Zappa's "Cruising with Ruben and the Jets," and those trying to do the 50s again. And there's some the Beach Boys ish choir and doo-wop, and this is the age of Greece, and looking back to when these artists were teenagers, and I think that's there's maybe a nostalgia for the America when they grew up. They're already being nostalgic. Could
Yeah.
be, or it is a pastiche of that time. But anyway, it sounds more. There's less blood in this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't quite get the 50s feel, but it's definitely a much more pop-ish feel than they have done up until now. It's very safe in a way.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, there's something about it. It doesn't leap out of the speakers, and you could say a lot of bad things about Big Beat, and I'm sure I said a lot of it. And but that opening track that leaped out of the headphones,
Definitely did.
and this one did not leap. It's sort of a slow jogging along and waving at the neighbor who's watering the lawn, and yeah. There was a guitar solo that was interesting. I like that, but no, this was too soft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a quite bland song. I mean, it's hard to say that it's a poor song in that sense. It's just trots along and that's it. It doesn't do much for me. I don't find this a very solid Spark song, I think we could say. And as an opening track, I mean, they have used to put the singles on the opening track, or partly at least, up through the years, and this was also released as the only single in America.
Mm.
Single material?
No.
No. It's not surprised that this wasn't selling a lot. If they were trying to introduce a new type of Spark sound to the American audience, then maybe. But yeah, the question is it also then representative for what Sparks were doing on the rest of the album or not? That's of course
we'll see.
you wouldn't know that because you haven't heard it. But yeah.
And there was the line in the lyrics with the whimpering sound, not a banging away.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
And that you could say was summing up my impression.
I think you were very accurate there. Yeah.
But not. It wasn't bad. But I was. Yeah, they have done so much better in the past.
They definitely have, and yeah, as a song, the lyrics are slightly. It's not the best lyrics Ron has written, but they still, have some funny lines in here as well. They're talking about the movie. When someone mentioned how the movie would end, and I turned and glared at them, giving them the evil eye, maybe. And then the next line is, and then I read how the world was going to end.
Yeah, that's a nice.
It's also whimpering sound, so it seems to be about people giving away the surprises. So there ain't no surprise, and he's sort of craving for a big surprise. And maybe that's the song about. There isn't any big surprises here. Maybe that is the surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, could be an ironic, but it could also be record company in the holding the wheels, and Sparks are sitting in the back and just going along.
Yeah. Russell had made one comment on this track. He said, "We had no band at the time and attempted an album using LA session musicians. Had we taken a bit more stylist approach to the production, the result may have been more interesting." Well, it's more a comment on the whole album, I guess. They did perform it live once on TV in France with, as far as I understand, an orchestral arrangement and quite different arrangement than this album version. So I haven't heard that version. I haven't found it, but it would be interesting to hear it at least. During this performance, Ron smashed his piano stool again, like he had done on the Big Beat tour. Amongst a very bewildered, as it said here, middle French audience quietly waiting for Nana Mouskouri.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the most exciting thing to say about this song, actually. It is a song that comes and goes and doesn't do much.
I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Leave it there.
And see if there are more big surprises coming up next.
Might be a few.
Might be a few.
Okay. Those of you who are listening to us, let us know what you think about this song. Was it a big surprise for you? Do you enjoy this track? And just write a comment below and let us know.
Please do.
We'll be back in a couple of days with the next track, which is Occupation. And until then, you must have a big thank you for watching us. You must all have a great day, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.